Alright, let's unpack it. Here it is. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, the latest and greatest. You can pre-order now. You can check out links down below. And they're gonna start shipping these out towards the end of July into early August. Let's quickly take a look at the box, see what else you get inside. Not a whole lot because they have moved away from that. There it is. Now I'm going to unbox it. We're gonna check out some of the key new features and changes versus the S24 Ultra. And then we're gonna do a deep dive and in-depth review once I spend a little bit more time with it. So make sure you stick around for that. It's always tough when you're comparing Ultra devices because there's so much stuff. I think that's why the sales tend to be a little lower. You know, people aren't quite as excited about it. So here's the S25 Ultra. I got it in the green colorway. Of course, if you want a different color, there's black, red, gray, gold, sky blue. They've got a lot of options. And this is the trim. It's the trim along the side. You can also tell by this little thing right here, which is also a sticker that you can peel off if you'd like. And just another quick note, I am reviewing the international version of the S25 Ultra, which has the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy. In some regions, including the US, they're getting the Exynos version. So keep that in mind, depending on where you live, you might get a different processor. Right off the bat, here are a few things that I noticed that are a little bit different versus last year's Ultra device. First of all, the overall form factor, which is what it looks like on the outside. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit narrower, and it's slightly thinner too. But of course, it's still a very large phone. And if you don't like that, you don't like those proportions, it's not gonna change here. Still have a big old camera array going on the back. They did tweak the camera modules just a little bit, but we'll come back to that in just a second. The other thing to notice is that there's a little bit of a chamfered edge along the side. So instead of just having this kind of abrupt transition between the glass and the metal frame, they actually kind of chamfer it just a little bit. So, it's a little bit easier on the fingers. One of my favorite things is that despite them making this phone thinner, they were able to retain the built-in S Pen. That's something that you will not see on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You're gonna have to purchase that separately if you want a stylus experience. So let us take a closer look at those cameras, starting with the new 200MP main wide lens. This is a pretty big deal because it does have more pixels to work with. It's going to give you potentially sharper images. And if you enable 200MP mode, you'll be able to take full advantage of that. It uses pixel binning, which is when you group adjacent pixels together to produce larger superpixels. And you can read more about that in the description down below. But you can see with 16" -1 binning, that's how we're able to get 12.5 megapixel images. If you turn off binning, you can get the full 200 megapixels. And you'll also notice right here, this is an optically stabilized lens. They're not calling this a periscope telephoto this year. This is a 5x optical zoom. It's not quite a periscope. The reason why is because there's no moving parts. So unlike the Galaxy S24 Ultra where you had a little tiny motor that would move back and forth so you can get the longer focal length, this one doesn't have that. But it does have 3 times and 5 times optical zoom. And you can also get up to 100 times digital zoom. So Samsung's added AI and software enhancements to improve the quality of that digital zoom. But let's take a look at the ultra-wide camera. This is a 50 megapixel shooter that also enables what they call 2x crop zoom. So it's a combination of hardware and software. You can get 12.5 megapixel images at 1x. You can also get 25 megapixel images at 2x. And it can shoot 4K 60 video. They also have a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto lens and then a 12 megapixel selfie camera. Now this is a picture that I took with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. As you can tell, it was in low light conditions. This is without any night mode. There wasn't any sort of tripod involved. This is just handheld. And I wanted to see how well the image would turn out, and I was very happy with the results. And I'll definitely be doing some more testing with night mode and post-processing, but I think that you can already see the improvements. It does have a much better depth of field. You can see that I am out of focus and everything behind me is in focus. I also noticed that the colors looked a little bit more vibrant. The contrast was a little bit better. Again, I'm very happy with this image. I'll put the S24 Ultra side by side and we'll compare that. And here's another image taken with the S25 Ultra 3x telephoto, and again very impressive image. The first thing that I would like to point out is that the leaves in the background are still somewhat visible. Even though you have a very compressed depth of field, you can see what's going on in the background and everything is just very sharp. I don't have to worry about my dog being completely blurry in the background. So, I am very impressed with the 3x telephoto and I can't wait to test out the 5x even more. I also tried out some video. You can shoot up to 8030 fps, which is a first for the Ultra line. However, this is something that I would only use on special occasions because you need a lot of space to store these video files. The quality is amazing. I can't complain. It's very crisp. It's a little bit over-sharpened. And if you watch my S24 Ultra review, you'll probably notice that. That's just the nature of shooting 8K video. But in terms of stabilization, I don't have to worry about shaky hands if I'm walking. It's also shooting HDR 10 plus video. So if you have an HDR TV, you can view these videos in all their glory. Okay, so what else is new? Well, there's some changes to the software and specifically with Galaxy AI. One of my favorite ones is Generative Edit. This is where you can take an existing photo, manipulate it in some way and add elements to it. You can also remove objects. Let us say you want to take a picture of yourself with a friend, and there was a stranger that photobombed you and you didn't catch them soon enough. Well, you can easily remove that person and nobody will ever know. Another useful feature is the generative fill for video. So if you're recording footage and somebody walks into the frame or maybe a car photobombs you, you can easily remove that with just a swipe. Another new feature is portrait retouching, and this allows you to take a portrait mode photo and then modify the background. So let us say you took a photo at a park and you thought the background was a little distracting. You can just blur it out. You can also change the look of the background. Let us say you want it to look like you were on a beach instead of in a park. I gotta say these changes are very impressive. Some of these features will be rolling out later, but at least you know they're working on these things. And Samsung does usually roll out updates pretty quickly. Also, one last feature that I want to mention is that if you go into the camera settings, there's a couple new modes. One of them is 200 megapixel mode, which is the mode that you would use if you want to take full advantage of the 200 megapixel sensor. And the other one is auto FPS video. And this allows the phone to automatically adjust the frames per second while you're recording. This is helpful for preserving battery life because it takes more power to record at higher FPS. So, I've spent a few days with the S25 Ultra and I've been enjoying it so far. The performance is very snappy. The cameras are taking some incredible pictures. I'm very impressed with the 3x and 5x zoom lenses. And the fact that we have a 200 megapixel main wide lens is also very nice. As far as battery life, I can get anywhere between 4 to 6 hours of screen on time. Depending on what I'm doing, if I'm running benchmarks, playing games, using the camera, it'll drain a little quicker. But if I'm doing more mixed use, I can definitely get a full day of use out of this battery. Now, I will say that it is a big, bulky phone. So, that is my initial review of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Make sure you stick around for the full review, which will be coming very soon. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss more tech deep dives like this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.